This video is about how Unilever really disrupted the hiring process with using artificial intelligence. So we'll be actually looking at the steps that a candidate had to take when they were, and in this case, we're talking about graduates. The steps that a graduate needed to take when getting interviewed or getting screened through the process. And we'll also be looking at some of the products which Unilever used. So the interesting thing here is that Unilever used both gamification and video interviewing technologies to create a successful hiring process. So the first step was really to was a simple application form that could be filled on LinkedIn. The next step was a 2-minute mobile game provided by Pymetrics that revealed the cognitive, behavioral, and social traits. So we thought it would be interesting to look at the Pymetrics website. So this is it. Pymetrics is hiring based in neuroscience and data science. And how do they do it? The first thing is that they have gamified the hiring process using neuroscience games. It collects objective behavioral data on candidates, and the other bit is that it is using artificial intelligence and machine learning to maximize the prediction of the best hire. How does it do it? It does it by collating and analyzing data of the existing employees of the company. And also it is bias free. It methodologically removes bias from the process through blind auditions and statistical tools. So coming back, Unilever used the biometrics technology to understand the behavioral and social traits. And here the important point is that these kind of tests are important across industries, across the kind of role, across seniority. It is important to understand if the person is going to match the culture in your company. I mean, that's one of the things. There are quite a few other behavioral traits that need to be understood before hiring. So after this analysis, the next step was that the applicant had to interview, had to record answers to interview questions via the HireView platform. So we thought it would be interesting to go through this video, which was made by Business Insider and they actually tried out the product, and this is a video on that.
Video analysis to screen employees and rate them before a recruiter even gets to look at their interviews.
I'm Lauren Larson. I'm the Chief Technology Officer at HireView. HireView has a platform that simplifies the job interviewing process. The most common use of that is what we call an on-demand interview, where you create a set of questions, they respond on video, and then we use artificial intelligence algorithms to evaluate their performance, and then we analyze the interview and predict their performance based on the interview.
So HireView set up an application for me where it was 11 interview questions. I used my iPhone. The entire time I felt very awkward and very self-conscious because I was looking at a video of myself.
And then we made an analysis of the features that are important for that job and produced what we call an insight score, which is essentially his ranking compared to all of the other candidates that we've seen. Well, fortunately, Rich did really well in this interview.
Basically, what this is just doing is looking for things like eye contact, enthusiasm. If this is someone who's going to be working with clients face to face, do they smile or are they downcast? Are they looking away from the camera? So some of my skepticism was averted when I actually saw how the product worked.
The machine is going to look at 25,000 different features. and complex relationships between those that might see things that I'm not able to see as a human.
AI in recruiting at this point is still basically in its infancy. I think what HireVue is doing is interesting. They're going into uncharted territory. It seems that a lot of large companies are happy with the results.
Of the candidates that we screened for this, he was second. He had a 65% insight score. So we actually want to make him an offer.
Right, so that's how HireVue works, and very interesting application of AI in hiring using facial recognition and understanding what gestures and facial movements actually imply with respect to a candidate's skill matching to a job description. The next bit is the after this was done, the successful candidates had to spend some time in the online discovery center where they could understand more about the company, collaborate on projects, uh, and kind of get a good feel of what the actual profile would entail. Moving on, the another partner that the case study mentions is Amberjack for behavioral psychology, and we thought it would be good to look at the Amberjack website. It's a UK based company, and they do have an apprentice selector. It measures potential and apprentice applicants who do not have the work experience. So this is probably what the Unilever team used, and it manages them through the recruitment process. Okay, so moving back, so these are the various platforms that they use. Now, what was the result? Interestingly, they saw a 90% completion rate with the gamification assessment, as opposed to 70% with traditional methods, and it's very important to get graduate hiring right, because studies show that the employer of choice for students when they graduate continues to be their top choice throughout the career. Well, because you are at a stage where you can be influenced, and you make a particular decision about employer. This does mean that that particular employer has a kind of a permanent place throughout your career. Another interesting thing here is that candidates can be matched to other companies that biometric partners with if they don't get hired at Unilever. And Unilever's technology had to recognize their status as a global company. So if the candidate was living in a place with bad Wi-Fi, the game had to actually auto-save so that they could continue where they left off till the time the Wi-Fi came back. So these tech challenges also had to be considered by Unilever. So that's really how Unilever use some really cool stuff. And although these are cool products, you must remember that they use methodologies and principles which are well validated, and that's the reason why Unilever went with them in the first place, to make hiring bias free and more interesting for the candidates, and also something which they actually enjoy doing. Thank you.